Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another Maya Moments podcast. I'm your host, Maya, and today I have with me a friend of mine that I've known for a couple years now, and I've had the opportunity to get to work with him as him being a director. I then got to work with him after being another actor alongside him. And he's just an actor, a writer, director, and artist, Joshua Carter. And I'm so excited to have him on today to talk about, the way that I'm most creative and where I feel called to be creative in. And I know Josh as well, in just being an artist through storytelling on the stage. So just say hi, Josh.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to just talk about how you feel creatively purposed and like what that means to you. Because I know personally, we have had conversations and we kind of connect even together and as a group of people, of mutual friends, that we talk about these things all the time offline. And so I know it could be impactful and helpful to other people to kind of just hear where we're at and maybe that's where they're at or they are trying to get to. And so, I
100%.
met Josh here in Lynchburg. I got the opportunity, unbeknownst to him, he probably doesn't even know this, but at this time I was heartbroken about not getting a role at Liberty.
Yeah.
And we had, at first, I'm a theater major. I just graduated, by the way. I've said this before, but if this is your first time listening to the podcast, I was a theater BA in theater arts with a minor in dance. And so at the beginning of each semester is when you would audition for all of the shows for the whole season,
semester.
The whole semester of that season. And so you would know within that first weekend, because it's before school, the Saturday before school, you would know within that first weekend before school even started if you were cast anything, you had any callbacks, like you would know so you could plan ahead. And so I don't even remember what shows it was, but I got some callbacks. I think I got 2 callbacks and I thought they were really strong. They're great. And I didn't eat in any shows. I didn't get none of the shows. I think I might have gotten I don't even think I got a production credit.
Also, not even background. You didn't get any production?
I don't even think I didn't do anything for that semester, production-wise or acting-wise. And so I was kind of just really heartbroken. I remember like being in my dorm, waking up on that Sunday, looking at the cast list and everything, and just crying, like being like, oh, I'm putting so much effort into this, and it's not panning out the way that I do. And I know I'm not mad at anyone else for the opportunities that they're getting. I'm excited for them. They're talented and they do show up. I just wish sometimes that I was able to be on the stage as well. And so a friend of mine, Stephen, who's a mutual friend of ours, we were inside of theology class and we had this theology class and we used to always sit together through theology. And Stephen was like, Fast Wallers, Amos Behaven, they're doing it at the academy. And they're having auditions this week. And I was like, I had known about this and I planned on going to see it, but I thought they had already cast and they were already in the rehearsal.
Oh, we were searching.
They were in the rehearsal process. And so I was like, what? Okay, well, he was like, yeah, I talked to somebody. They gave me the information about auditions and everything. And I was like, okay, all right. So I think he sent me the link for it. And I was like, okay, at this time, I'm in Lynchburg. I don't have a car. I don't have anything. But I was like, I really want to do an audition outside of the Department of Liberty just so that I can continue the skill of auditioning. Like, even if I don't get this, I don't care about necessarily getting it. Now, this is the crazy thing. I didn't even know at that time I wasn't supposed to be auditioning for things.
I was about to talk. They had restrictions, right? They had restrictions.
No ideas about the restrictions. I was totally ignorant to all those things. I just thought I didn't get cast anything, so it was no harm, no foul in me being able to, go ahead and keep brushing up my audition skills. That actually wasn't the rules at the time. The rules have changed since then. People are allowed to do that now. But I was like, oh my gosh, like I had to do paperwork and everything. Long story short, I went and auditioned, and that is how I initially met Josh. Josh was the director, and it was very gracious audition. I was like, okay, that went okay. That was fine. If I don't get it, okay, if I did get it, great, of course. And I have to figure out from there what to do because I don't
Yeah.
have a car. So, like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to come to downtown Lynchburg all the time for this. And long story short, it ended up panning into me being a part of Ain't Misbehaving, which I think really gave me a different level of confidence in myself. Because I was no longer putting the whole weight of my whole career as the whole weight of me as an artist depended on Liberty University theater department. It kind of and it's not a negative to Liberty University theater department. It's about you as an artist have to gain confidence in yourself. And after I did that, I ended up getting a lot of opportunities in Liberty theater department from there. And I think it had to do with the growth I had as a person, as an artist, from being a part of Ain't Misbehaving. So yeah, that's a long introduction to just say, like, I've known Josh for a little bit of time, and I'm really excited to let him talk now about his own self and his own journey and those things. So I mean, if you have something you want to talk about from the top of your head right now, you are more than welcome to. But I just want to pose a question though, like, where do you feel the genesis of your creativity like stems from? I know you're a PK, and we have that in common, Unicorn Gang. But yeah, where do you just feel like the genesis of your creativity stems from? And yeah.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for putting me on your platform because we talk. We have a group that would talk for hours and hours. So thank you for thinking of me.
Of course.
The genesis of my experience, kind of, my mom was a teacher. I've always been in a school. My dad's been a principal and administrator. My mother's a teacher. And so I always had books. Lots of, the Scholastic. You remember Scholastics? The Scholastic Club.
The
My
fair,
mother,
they used to come.
yeah. My mom would buy those books every year. So imagine from the age of 0 all the way to 18, how many books we had in the house. We had lots of books. And I loved the books. I wouldn't always just read the words, but I would look at the word, the pictures. And my mother kept some Disney Channel movies in our house. I mean, we had a whole 2 shelves full of VHS tapes with all the Disney stuff. And so I would spend a lot of time there watching those movies, reenacting it with my cousins outside. We call it playing a game. Let's go play a game. And we would reenact whatever we saw. Right. And so that's where it began for me. And I will never forget, it was Peter Pan. I think it was Peter Pan. There was like a videotape like version from 1968 or something like that. With, is it Mary something? I can't remember her name. That famous Golden Age actress. And I was like, I think I want to do that. I want to do that. And then I saw a production of Cinderella Kids in kindergarten. And when I saw that, I was like, when I get to 5th grade, I'm going to be doing that.
You can't wait because you're just you're going for it.
I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. I think even for myself, you saying like we would reenact anything that was done, it made me think, I'm like, oh my gosh, like as a child, we didn't necessarily look at movies and reenact it, but me and my little cousins, we would do this game called, oh, let's play family. And so we would just, whatever our heart desires, it wasn't a game that had any rules or boundaries. We would just, whatever we wanted to do. So I had a Jeep and I had a little kitchen set. And so maybe today I'm going to the grocery store and I'm having an argument with my sister, like just things that we had seen with each other from our own family and things, and we were reenacted and we were fully these characters, and we would turn them on and off like with the switch, and it was constant. Like I did that throughout my childhood with my 5-6 cousins and my little sister. How interesting. But no, like that makes a lot of sense. So moving from like just reading and visual, and you did get to the 5th grade. So like in school, how did you figure that out? How did you stumble into the actual like art of acting? Was it something that happened, in high school, or like, were you a part of theater departments?
Elementary school, I did get to the 3rd and 4th grade and the 4th and 5th grade to do those plays. But then I took like a really long hiatus throughout middle school. It wasn't available unless you were like in a certain class or something. And so when I got to high school, I said, I'm going to get me in a play. I'm going to do this. I got the information and I scared out of it. I didn't do it. I was so scared. You know what I mean? You're like, and so I
I
didn't do
did
it.
that. Yeah.
And then sophomore year came and I said, I'm going to do it. I auditioned and it was like a 3-day audition for this like
Really?
one act. Yeah. In my high school, they do one act competitions. And so they were trying to find people for this
Oh.
competition. I didn't make it.
Okay.
And I was
Okay.
crushed. And so I
Oh gosh.
decided in the spring, I'm going to audition. My grandmother encouraged me, you need to do it again. I auditioned for Little Shop of
Love
Horrors and then
grandma.
I got a cameo role. I got Orange Corello
Hey.
DDS, so I was the bad guy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
You play
after
a
that,
good villain.
oh, thank you.
Okay, so you do these productions at
Mhm.
school, you're getting into it. So at this point, do you have like confidence in yourself, or like do you feel sure of yourself, or you're
I
still wavering?
I was when I came out of high school, I was really confident in my imagination. Our theater
Uh,
teacher, Craig Edgerton, hello sir, how you doing? He was very hardcore and very I don't want to say he was mean because he just was very tough and yelled a lot. So by the time
Mine
you
did
get
too.
critiques, you know what I'm talking about? Like by the time you get a critique in college, you're like, okay, whatever, because you've been yelled at for 4 years. And you're like, well, I'm
Yeah.
used to being, pushed and shoved and not physically, but just emotionally and being pushed to
Emotionally,
your limit
mentally, psychologically,
mentally.
yeah.
So it's just like, whatever. So when I came to Liberty, I went in as an elementary education major, and we can talk about that later, why I did that. But the
Yes.
first thing I did when I came to Liberty was break into the theater. And I rode my bike to the theater, broke in, found a door in, and looked out there, and I was like, this is the biggest thing I've ever seen, but I can do this. So I scared out the first semester. Scared out. I went in, I was like, can I just watch the auditions? And Mr. Nelson said, no, you
No.
can't. It's a closed audition, but you can just come in and audition. I'm like, I'm not coming in here with no monologue.
And the crazy thing is, at that time, it was probably still open auditions, meaning everyone had to perform in front of each other.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
No.
What? No.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can
So
perform
the
in front
first
of
year,
40 people.
yeah, you performed in front of everyone. At that time, they finished that the year before I got there. So when I got there, I never
Ah,
even knew about that. The seniors and stuff were like, "Oh yeah, you guys are
wow.
lucky. You get to have your own little clothes." Then I was like, "What? I didn't
Because everybody would do
know."
the same monologue. No, same song. Everybody had the same song.
Right.
And I did it.
Okay.
People laughed at me in the middle of my monologue, but I didn't care. I looked at them straight in the eye, kept singing. I was like, why are they laughing? And then I remember looking up and seeing the audience. And I was like, and I just like fell into metamorphosis. I just like fell into the song, got it, my first show. Ragtime.
Wow.
And I didn't care. I wasn't
Ragtime.
scared. Yeah, Ragtime
Yeah.
was my first show. I didn't care. I wasn't scared of the stage. I wasn't scared of competition. I was just happy to be there, happy to use my imagination, and lucky enough to have missed one of my callbacks and still got in the show. I missed my dance
Wow,
callback.
Josh.
Man,
That's actually
I was scared
crazy.
and I
That's
got
actually
in.
crazy.
So the confidence thing it was all play for me. It was never business at that time.
Which is such a that's such a beautiful time that your imagination is just so vivid and you're just so creative, and it's not thinking about the business mechanics of that aspect. It's just like I'm
Or the
available
politics. I wasn't in
so
the politics
much.
because I wasn't a student in the program. So I would just come in, have fun, and then leave. Other people were all up in the politics. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think even for myself, though, I never got caught up in the politics, and I'm
Mhm.
grateful for it because
It
it's so many
can.
things there that um, you can't get around, and I didn't care. I was like, I know what
Yeah.
I'm here to do. I
And
know
I'm here
why
to do
I'm
it.
here, and I'm going to do
Yeah.
that. And then anything else, uh, it is what it is. I was a theater major, from the very beginning. However, for
Hmm.
me, I didn't get involved until like a year later because I didn't know. So, and this has been something that when I became a part of Alpha Psi Omega and I was,
Yeah.
upperclassmen and stuff, I tried
And you
to
didn't
like
know what?
help. I didn't know when auditions were.
Yeah.
When I was doing the classes that I was doing, I was getting advice from my counselor, my life advisor there at Liberty, and she told me do all your gen eds first and then do all your major stuff last. So I didn't even start my acting classes or any of that until my second semester. I got like English and my comms and all that. I did that my first semester. So I really started my foundation at Liberty, not with theater being the beginning of the people that I met, the beginning of the education that I started with. I had met my friends, I had started my life, and then I brought theater as an addition into it. And so a lot of the politics and those things I didn't even know about because I wasn't surrounded by it. The people I didn't even know. It was kind of hard to integrate yourself back to become best friends with people after they already found their best friends, you know? So it was just like,
but that's
okay,
a good thing. That's a good thing that you found a life. Yeah.
It gave me so much balance because if I was so invested in the relationships there, I do not think at that time I would have been in the place to differentiate between the people that I'm really close with are getting opportunities and I'm not. I don't think that I'm in a place now. It doesn't bother me. But at that time, I was just so new in a new place. I don't know anybody. I'm meeting new people. I have a new, everything is new. And so it gave me such a balance because if things weren't going well or I was learning well, I got to share it with the people that I was a part of. But I didn't have like, oh, my best friend is also an actress and we got up for the same exact role and she got it and I didn't. That happens a lot. And it's complicated. It's very complicated. It doesn't mean that you're not friends with them, but there's no way that there's no like, I'm happy for you, but I wish I was given the same opportunities. That happens a lot in the theater department. I'm so glad that didn't. But anyway, so let's talk about why you did not major in theater arts because you were so involved in the theater department. So, like, why didn't you? And then did you regret not doing that after being a part of the department shows and being so involved? Like, guys, if you go to Liberty, he's on the walls. So like you're on the walls. You're on the walls of the theater department. So like you're highly involved. You're someone that people know, the infamous Joshua Carter. So like why did you regret it? And like why didn't you become a theater major even after, you started not as one? Why didn't you become
Well, first of all, my nickname is this theater stalker. I will break in and I will find I'm Joshua, remember? I walk around stuff and stuff falls down. Every place I've ever been to, that's what I do. I just walk in, I look, I was like, I will be here. No, for real. The Academy, I walked in on a summer's day. I was like, let me go in here. And I walked in and I'll be here. I'll be here.
That's because you're a visionary. You're a visionary. You can see things. And even though other people around you may not be able to see it, it's very tangible. You're like, oh yeah, I'll be there. It's fine.
I can see this. Yeah, but the thing about it was I remember my whole family, you got to understand, was in the education system. I went to a school where my father was my superintendent, my grandmother was the secretary, my aunt was my principal, my uncle was my guidance counselor, and my other aunt was in the she worked with kids with autism.
Oh, okay.
So my aunt was a principal at my elementary school and then moved to the middle school when I got there. And so my family, my dad was a football coach, my uncle was a basketball coach. It was education. My family did it, right? And so as I am preparing for college, you get those kind of nudges like, oh, you're going to do teaching, right? Right. And in the back of my head, I knew what was acceptable. My father's taking me places like, hey, son, how you doing? What job you going to do? I'm going to be a teacher. Oh, that's a good job. What am I going to tell him? I'm going to be an actor. As a superintendent's son. And to me, it was real. To other people, and being a pastor's son, there's a sense of you have a duty to kind of please people and also appear like you're doing what's right and what's successful.
Absolutely.
And so I went with elementary education in my paperwork, but I went to theater school in my heart. Let me tell you, I was so desperate for education in theater. My freshman year, people knew me as the boy on the bike. I wore my bike everywhere. They're like, hey, there goes the guy on the bike. Everywhere. I was the dude on the bike. I had a little green bike. And I would go to the music hall back in the day. It was like in the Lloyd Auditorium. There was a courtyard and there was a music hall. I would go and sit by the door and listen to people's music lessons. I would ride my bike up
Wow.
to North Campus, what you guys call Green Hall now or something like that.
We call it North still though, but yeah, Green Hall.
I would go and sit in the theater hallway and just sit on the couch and listen to the classes. Just listen, put my head to the door and listen. And I used to do that all the time. I'm the theater stalker. I'll just be around. They're like, why are you around? Why are you here? Just listening, just sitting around. And so my duty, what I thought was my duty, and it wasn't necessarily encouraged until I started doing more shows to be in the theater department. But I had my duty and then I had my heart. And I tell you, education was easy for me. I'd been teaching Sunday school since I was like 12. So my parents were teachers. I knew how to work with kids. It was easy. It was easy. I could literally do an education course and not read a book sometimes. Because I was like, well, I know how to do this. I can do my practicum. I know how to teach kids. I got a theater education at Liberty. And I made sure that I was in the shop again, in the costume shop every day. I learned how to use a serger. I learned how to put a hole in leather. I learned how to use a spotlight. Like, I was just so passionate about it because I knew somehow that's what I was going to end up doing. But education saved me financially. But
Absolutely.
I knew whether it was theater or film that this is what I was going to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And that's so sweet because I think it builds in you a different level of passion and just like appreciation for the art beyond the stage. You know, the stage you get, you know, the most praise, the most accolades and those things. But like me not getting those audition, not getting casted, but having to work in the costume shop and me working and all of those things. Oh, it taught me so much about theater beyond just the lights and just those things. It gave me an appreciation for the people, those jobs, how meticulous it is about those things, how much they matter. And I think being on stage again after doing those roles, I remember being in the costume shop and doing the things that I had to do for my job as costume designer or manager, and being like, I can't wait to get on stage. Like, I can't wait till I get on stage. Like, I just can't wait till I'm not doing this so I can get on stage. And then getting on the stage and being like, oh, wow, I'm so glad I got to do that. Like, I'm so glad that I was a part of those experiences for not one show, not two shows. I think I did 3 shows where I was costume manager.
And it's a really weird thing to try to implement. And I think that's the hardest thing at being an actor. It's like, I've done all this research, but now I've got to show what it is. And that is the crazy part.
And sometimes it doesn't translate the way that you're trying to. And so like you're using all these different techniques and technicians and trying to feel it. And sometimes you feel it doesn't mean it's showing on the outside. And, you know, so much of acting has nothing to do with actually acting. It has so much to do with psychology and just understanding people and what they will do when they're in these positions.
Openness is that biggest thing, because it's like I suffer from blank face because I'm thinking so much. And so like, while I think I'm emitting things to you, it's like, it's not show. I see pictures of me sometimes and everybody else is like in it. And and that back and forth communion between another person. I love duets. I love working with people. But
collaboration.
That's the thing.
And
Collaboration.
It's so fun to me, like to be able to collaborate and be like, I love this. And so, okay. So you are a part of the theater arts. You're the theater stalker. You're the bike guy. You're doing this out. So like, what's the journey for like, did you feel like now you're getting into shows there? You're kind of, your name is known, like you're known for who you are. People know your name and stuff. Are you good? Like, are you continuing to get better? Are you good? Like, what was the journey like now that you're actually on stage and you're getting the shows and you're a part of the process and you're juggling all this? What was that journey like?
Well, like I said at the beginning, when I first got in, I was just happy to be there. I loved the theater. I just liked the theater. I loved the rehearsal process. I loved everything. And then as I started to move on, I wanted to grow. And unfortunately, even in educational theater, it's not necessarily the director's motive to help you grow. They've got to cast the show the way they see fit. And so I wanted to grow. I wanted to get more responsibility. I wanted to show my acting chops. And though some people will say, well, you got some pretty good roles, you know what I mean? When it comes to,
Absolutely.
okay, you gave me this, but I want this. And
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
necessarily leads, but I want a responsibility. I want to take on
Yeah.
juicy stuff. I don't want to be chorus member number 5 with 2 lines. And so that got into my head a little bit because I wanted to
Yeah.
be more and not to be a bigger face. I wanted more responsibility.
Ah.
Didn't get it. Didn't get it. And so it became
Yeah.
frustrating
Yeah.
and not
Yeah,
knowing
because
like you, I didn't,
you're trying to
yeah,
continue to diversify your skills and
yeah,
your research and how you like implement roles, and you're continuing to get things that you feel like aren't
exactly.
deepening that
And
process.
didn't know that I could go off campus. I had no idea. Like going to Liberty, I stayed on that mountain. I didn't know that there were theaters in the city. I'm not from here. And so I didn't get that. So, like you said, I had no idea. Nobody was reaching out to me to do it either. And so it got in my head.
Yeah.
And then I graduated. Weird things happened. And I took a year or two off of acting. And then I started doing more stuff in the city. And then I began to realize there's a thing such as tokenism. And it's very, when
Oh,
you're in a
absolutely.
community, sometimes they just need representation. And it can get in your mind like, am I really good? Or do they just want me to be here so that it looks like they have brown people? I got into the
Yeah.
community and the same doors were opening. And people like, oh, yeah, we would love to work with you. And I was like, oh, so I'm good at this. It's not just I'm a placeholder. And so then I began
Ah,
to
yeah, yeah,
act
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
direct.
yeah.
Yeah. And so
And
that's it. That opened the
diversify
door.
your artist beyond just acting, which I think is
Yeah.
phenomenal, because you as a director has helped me in so many ways being under
Wow.
your tutelage. And I think being a writer as well has been phenomenal to see, because you do have such a different way of creating and crafting stories, and I think people connect with them so well. um and we'll talk about it later with Color Me Beautiful, but I got to be a part of one of the pieces that Josh wrote, and just the way that it's written, and to see the response that people had, of course, the whole play, but specifically the piece that I, was acting in,
Mm.
primarily in, and to hear the feedback people had about that one story, it resonated with them so well. And it just it kind of reminded me of like the stories that were happening in the early career of like Tyler Perry, and people just, they connected with it so well. They're like, it's funny, it's relatable. It just, you're able to connect with the community that you're a part of, and it resonates with them, and the
Absolutely.
story and the things connect. And so I think it's beautiful that you're diversifying your creativity beyond, just
Yeah.
you being on stage, because don't get me wrong, Joshua is incredible on stage. Like, he's very
Well, thank
captivating, and
you.
I'm sure he would say that he needs, oh, this is what I'll do, I'm going to work on this, and I'm going to work on that's all great. But I'm talking about just right now, and anybody that you'll talk to will tell you that Josh is different, and the way that he commands a stage, whether he's directing or acting or he's writing, that, oh, this is greatness and it's going somewhere, because he's a visionary and he knows where he's
Wow.
going.
My soul.
Oh, no. Yeah. Take all these flowers. Take all these flowers. Take all these flowers. It is an honor to know you, really, 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 because we can see in you how much is inside of you that you haven't even been able to discover and like release and explore. Like, it's all there, but you just continue to grow. And so from all that, though, I think, it helped me as an artist, just knowing like, oh, there's someone else who kind of gets it. And like he's doing what he can do, and how can I partner and collaborate with that?
Absolutely.
Has been really fun. It's really, really fun. So you started doing other things. You started collaborating with other people. You went from now acting on stage to doing more short films and background acting stuff. So like, how did you like get into that? Because, I'm an actor too. And I think this is even helpful for me. I want to do film acting more than theater. And I think you'll understand me when I say this. Why? Because you kind of just said it. There's more opportunities to grow and have more responsibility on the film side, where, because I have a theater degree here, when you're learning about the people that look like me and the history connected with that, with theater, and then you're trying to reconcile that with where you see theater today, and you're like, the through line is this place wasn't made for me to exist in my humanity.
Yes.
And all the complexities of who I am. And so I'm trying to fit, and I'm trying to
Don't you want to do Oklahoma?
I sure do. And I think I think somebody sent me that they were doing, these in Les Mis. I think in London they're doing other things. But like, I'm trying to fit inside of these roles, and it's not happening, right? And so it's becoming frustrating as an artist now, where I'm trying to get peace and have creativity. I'm now finding discrimination and racism coming into the creative parts of who I am.
Yes.
And it's too much. I can't fight in every area of my life. I love theater. Theater is my first love. But at this place where I am at right now in my life, I cannot deal with the politics that come with being a Black woman in theater. And so I want to go into film. So just talk about the background acting and the acting in the film, and like, how was that and all that? Yeah, I want to know everything.
The first, and this is not necessarily a lesson I learned. Do you know who Lamont Rucker is? To a workshop with him, and he says, you got to be in place. You got to be in place. And so I'm a very advantageous person. I'm very quiet like a mouse, but I'm like always somewhere looking for the opportunities, taking the opportunities and being in place, like joining Facebook groups where they're filmmakers, and they'll be like, we're just casting for this dude. We can't. I'm in a film in 2 weeks from now, from that. And then someone called me and like, hey, can you do this? Making good relationships with people that are where you want to be. So if I know I want to be in films, well, then maybe I need to talk to somebody and just be like, hey, let's go get coffee. Let's just talk. What do you want to do? Making your own projects like we've talked about. But just being in place. Like available. I said before, available in place. I was sitting by the door, listening to lessons. You don't think they saw that?
Oh, they absolutely did.
They saw that. I was in place. I call it campaigning for myself. I may not be able to jump in your office and say what I want, but I'll be around every time you come around. Like, why are you here? Why are you here? And one thing I did months ago in October, I took a trip to New York. Man. I went to
Broadway.
It was good.
I did go to Broadway finally. I saw my first shows in January.
And
I saw To Kill a Mockingbird, and I saw Hadestown.
Oh, come on now.
Josh, we need to talk about Hadestown, because when I tell you...
They tell you I'm going to marry you. Yeah.
Way down.
Way down. Way down.
Way down. I have not stopped listening to the soundtrack since I
that worked right there. Like, not that other shows are not good, but that kind of makeshift art that they made with Hadestown, I love that.
I know.
Taking interpretations of stories and like twisting it in. It's a crafty
on
show.
top of it, it's such a small cast, right? It's not
Yeah.
long. It's not a lot of people. And when I saw that show, I was like, wait, I can do this.
Yes.
I
And
can
that's the
do
thing I want to talk
this.
about. Like when I finally got to see a Broadway show, is it okay if I say I was not amazed?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I was not
Be
amazed.
honest.
I was impressed, but I was not amazed because I was like, I could do this. Like this is not far fetched. I could get an audition and at least try to be in this. Like we have similar skill sets, so I
Yeah.
can possibly do this 8 shows a week. That's hard, but I was like, man, like when I saw Thoughts for a Color Man, I was like, I'm pretty short compared to these 6 foot guys, but I think I could do this if I had
You
to.
could
You
do
know,
it. Oh my God. And that's what changed my whole framework though,
change it.
because
Yeah,
Broadway, when you're in school and when you're a part of the theater departments and we're doing things, it's so far fetched. It
and
seems like
idolized.
so far fetched. And so when especially when I saw To Kill a Mockingbird, I was like, I could do this. I can do this. I can do this. And then I
But do
actually
you
got
want
the
to play
opportunity to be
Calpurnia?
Oh, no. But
Okay,
I knew that
okay,
I
okay.
could. That was the thing. It was so far-fetched to even think it was a possibility. When I saw Hades Town, I was like, oh, I would have to work to get there. But I can do it.
It's possible.
I can do it. Oh, I can do it. And so that was the shift that I feel like as an artist gives you freedom. And so I'm glad like that experience happened for you too.
Yeah. And in this idea with professional theater, like my foundation is at Illuvian. And people kept saying, oh, like that's a Broadway show. And I'm like, there's no way that we are doing Broadway level work. And then I went and I was like, yeah, I can see. And then plus the people we were. No, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad.
No, it's good because you are now seeing the quality of work that you were doing.
You were doing it, period. Because people were like, that was like a Broadway show. And I'm like, what? Really? It's like, no,
These people are nuts. These people are nuts.
They were, but no, I'm glad you got to go because it's like if I could get, and that's been my thing, young people. We do not have enough in our cities in Lynchburg of Black kids, Latin kids, Asian kids who are exposed to it, and it's very frustrating to go to a camp, a summer camp, and see that none of our kids are there.
Absolutely. I agree.
Did you do summer camps?
I didn't do summer camps, but I know that from what I had known about even Liberty summer camps, it's not even the no, right?
I didn't even know, yeah.
When you think about Black kids and the extracurricular activities they do, theater is not on that list. You know, acting is not on that list. People love acting. And of course, the entertainment industry is full of a lot of Black, diverse people. When you look at it, a lot of them are actually coming overseas, though, from, London and the UK. Yeah. And I was trying to figure out why, like, what was the reason. And I realized from a governmental state level, they fund the arts. And, there's just not that type of support that we have here in the
and cultural too.
Yeah, culturally, like entertainment is not something that is funded into like, oh, we're gonna believe in all you guys to, to act. I mean, and
from our side, like Quan and I play basketball on the court. I'm gonna tell my friends, I'm in Frozen Junior. You want to come see Frozen? What dude on the basketball court is gonna be like, I'm Elsa's snowman? Like,
I know. And that's the thing, though, because culturally there are dynamics that just don't click. And so that's why there's a difference, because even like theater etiquette or knowing all of those things, we know Black plays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Tyler Perry plays and what a lot of people, for lack of better words, call them like chicken circus plays. The plays that go on the road and they do them. That's theater, but that's a different theater than what is professional theater, what is known in the theater world as theater. And so I think that's the difference. When people think of theater, they think kind of what they know to be, oh yeah, you go to a play, but those plays don't necessarily have the same etiquette and understanding or even perception. Like when you go to those places, you don't necessarily think you're going to get quality acting or quality
No,
singing or
it's
those type of things. You know,
entertainment.
it's
Good
a good
time.
time. It's a good
Yeah,
time, and you'll
yeah.
have a good time with your family, and it'll be something to talk about. But you don't have expectations of certain things. When you go to a theater show, there are certain expectations of, and there, you
Yeah.
are being judged. you are being, looked at, and so there's a difference there.
And our people, I don't want to say our people like we're set aside, but we want a different route. Like we want to be Viola and Denzel, but we didn't know that Viola spent like 4 years at Juilliard. Denzel went to school and like he didn't finish. I don't think he didn't finish, but he went to school for it.
He had to, because he got his master's at he got an MFA at
in LA
Playground.
Something, but they went to school.
I think. Yeah,
no.
They absolutely went to school. They absolutely went to school.
Yeah.
They absolutely. And if
did
you
Shakespeare,
think about Shakespeare you down. Even Angela Bassett and Courtney Vance.
But we see them, but they're part of a popular culture that tells us just go to somewhere like what's that theater in Harlem? What's the theater in Harlem where people go? Yeah, Steve Harvey used to host it. No, he used to host at the Apollo.
The Apollo.
We want to go to the Apollo and get a big break and just like fall into it. Or she can sing and she just gets this big break. And it's like there's a lot of stuff that happens for Viola to come.
There's a lot of work that happens.
A lot of work.
A lot of dues that were paid. A lot of people don't know that their favorite actors and actresses were theater babies. They were in the theater. They were on the shows. They were in the shows before Viola Davis and Denzel Washington did fences in a film. They had already done it.
Done it in the theater.
They had done it in the theater. When Kerry Washington did the one Netflix adaptation of the film of American Son, they did American the adaptation on Netflix. That was a theater. That's
piece.
A theater play. And so a lot of these things you don't understand because there's a cultural break. There's a cultural
disconnect,
shift. Disconnect. And I mean, I would love to help be a part of bridging those gaps, but just not right now in my life.
Yeah.
Not right now. But I would love to see.
It's up to us. And we don't, if we don't, this, I got mine. Well, you're going to have to work for yours. We can't get there like that. We can't get there. Like if I open a door, when I get stable, I'll be like, okay, I can take at least 2 or 3 with my resources, right? I can't just like shoot up and then live in LA and forget I came from somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So.
And if we're being honest, this is just another thing that is resourceful. Majority of the opportunities that you get have nothing to do with so much of your talent and so much of you showing up, but a lot of the relationships that you build on the way there. And Issa Rae, she was talking about how her success, and people were asking her, how do you collaborate? How do you network? She said, what I've seen is a lot of people want to collaborate up. They want to go up to the people that I've already established. And I connect with people that are my peers who are the same, the same way as me. And let's level up together. And I think that is a cheat code. A lot of people are trying to collaborate and network up, to the person who already is established. They already have the people around them that were with them, that they helped and did those things for. They're kind of in a different place. They're not trying to keep doing that for people. But the people around you, they want to be helpful because they're trying to get to a space they're into too. So community is so important. Having people that you don't owe anything, that they don't owe you anything, but you are just invested in their success, or you want to help them however you can help them, and just finding people with the same type of like vision that you have. That's a lot of the reason why this podcast is happening today, Creatively Purpose. I realized through my own personal relationships, I had so many people that were creative and like-minded, and I knew that a lot of people didn't. A lot of people don't, and I'm like, God really placed in my heart, like, people need to hear about the people that you know and what's on their heart and what's in their mind, because they feel alone and they need they need just to know that there's other people out there that may not even be in the same creative medium as them, but I have purposed it all. And so I just think that, really, really, really look around you. Who are the people that
Yeah.
you keep running into? Who are the
Yeah.
people that you are
Yeah.
all at the same roles and stuff like that, and build relationships with those people?
That's a word for me. Thank you. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's true. You fight to get into these places that you're not. It's not even your path. You trying to go through a front door. Guys like, I got a back door. You like getting through the back
Right.
door, and I'm like, I want to go through the
Right.
front door. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Nah, yeah. Okay, so we never talked about your background acting, but he was in a movie. So talk about the movie that you were a part of, and like, how was
Oh, okay.
that?
Yeah. I was in a. I was able to be in Focus Features Harriet as a background actor and as a photo double on the film, and
Yes.
that was I was a teacher at the time, so I took 4 days off to
Mm.
be in this film. And so I took 4 days off, stayed in the city. It was here in Virginia, and it changed the way that I saw everything. It was a masterclass of a masterclass.
Mm.
Not only because it was Black creatives, but because it was a Hollywood set, and you don't get that all the time in Virginia. My experience, my personal experience, was very positive. So positive that they called me back. I was supposed to go for 1 day. And they called me on the
Yeah.
phone and they're like, "Hey, can you come back? You're the right height, and they said that you work really well. Come back and work." And I said, "Yeah, I can stay." So I stayed. And my face is not visible in the film, but the experience was amazing. There was a scene on these boats, and we were out on the
Yeah.
boats for like 5 hours. And the water was like seeping through it. And they had a
It's
person
so
in a
cold.
scuba. It was December. It was December. And so we were in these like uniforms, union uniforms, the water seeping in. But I'm like, this is what I'm here for. This is why
Yeah.
I'm here. I worked that day from 11 a.m. to 3 a.m.
Ooh. Ooh.
I was released at 3 a.m., but I was like, I'm here for it. And I
Ooh.
felt like I was making history. Like the energy on that set for me, it was just like, I feel like we're making history. Like you could feel how important that piece was.
It was
Um,
beautiful.
4 days
It
of
was a beautiful
awesomeness.
piece, and it was really fun. We actually went out like with some friends and saw it with Josh
And
to go
watch it.
see.
Oh, that's right. You
We saw
did.
it
You
with
did.
you.
You did.
So it was really fun to be able to see that piece, and
Yeah, but
it
it
was
changed the
beautiful.
game. It changed the game for me to realize how tangible it was and how you can do it. It's hard work. That many hours, that's a lot of hard work.
Oh
Some people
yeah,
didn't get it, but it was like, this is what film is.
yeah,
The lead actor is with us standing waiting the same amount of time, right?
yeah. Exactly. Like they do have their own trailer and they got food and a little bit more
Yeah.
amenities, but they're working just as
Yeah.
hard and more than us. That's why they get the amenities and stuff, because they're doing all the scenes and they got to be
They're
there
doing all the
all
scenes and
day.
be on the spot. Like your stomach hurt, you got an earache, you're tired, you don't want to be here. You're getting paid
Whew.
hopefully thousands to be on spot. Even if they don't, your call time might be at 11. You don't get on set until 2:30. So when they call for you, you got to be ready to go with all your
That's
motivations and everything. And then they may
uh,
not call you. There was one day where the lead actress came to set. I met her. We shook hands. She sat there with us on the back porch of
wow.
this cabin for like 2 hours. And then they had to send her away because they weren't ready. They weren't ready for her. She was very kind, very wonderful person. I would love to work with her.
Oh wow.
Um,
Come on, somebody.
Cynthia Erivo is a
We
boss.
come on now, somebody. I respect her and her watching her career,
Yeah,
continue to elevate, and seeing the artist that she has become has been very inspiring to watch. Very,
yeah,
very
and she's a
inspiring.
real actress. Some people are like personalities, and they're like here, like I'm
No.
here, and I'm no. That woman, someone was sitting in her chair. They had the folding chairs. Someone was sitting
Hmm.
in her chair. She walked on the back porch. She's like, "Have I introduced myself yet?" She shook everybody's hand, and they're like, "Oh, we're sitting in your chair." She said, "No, no, no." She sat on the ground while all the extras sat around her. Like that. That is an
And that shows you just knowing, like, let me level this out. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Okay, but hold on. Let's talk about Color Me Beautiful, like real quick,
Yeah.
and that process. I remember the phone call I got back
What?
home about Color Me Beautiful, and I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. And so to be a part of it, from knowing about it from when it first happened to the end, it was really a lot for me. To just see like the vision through Josh's eyes, like it came. I don't know what your expectation out of it was, but from my viewpoint, it was like, wow, this came together so well. And considering the circumstances, us having to play in a pandemic, I was like,
You're right.
in the
Wow.
middle of a pandemic, and we sold out. We didn't have capacity. These were the first shows done at this show at full capacity, and we were the first ones to sell them out. It was a lot for me because I'm in this theater department. So to see other things done in the department outside of the department and seeing the success and like how beautiful it was to connect with it. Yeah. Well, how was that process for you?
Um, I was very lonely. It was a year-long process, so I was very lonely. The pandemic's happening. We can't talk to people. We can't touch them. At that time, my mom was not ill at the beginning of the process the year before.
Right.
But I still couldn't go, because we didn't know who's sick. So
Yeah.
I get a group of people and I just say, let's write every week. We're going to do writing prompts and we'll write a short script and we'll turn it in, talk about our lives, cry with each other, whatever. I get a phone call. Actually, was it George Floyd when everything went weird
Ooh,
in
yeah.
Lynchburg? Man,
We was
they
doing
were.
Zoom calls and podcasts and video calls, and there was a lot happening in Lynchburg. And even though this was the summertime that things were happening, so
It
I had
was.
moved
It
back
was.
home for the
Yeah.
majority of. I was back home at that time. You could still feel in the air like Fifth and Federal,
But Lynchburg is a
and
nowhere, and people were breaking into stuff and breaking it up. That's scary.
that just showed the level of unrest that
Unrest and anger
everywhere was
and yeah,
experiencing.
yeah. And so we were writing, and then I get a phone call from Liberty University, and they're like, "Can you please write a play about Black Lives Matter?" I'm like, "Excuse me." And y'all gotta understand, this is a conservative Christian college. I don't.
Conservative
Do I have to say
Christian
anything?
college.
Do I have to
I
say
want you
anything
guys
else?
I'm going to say this to you right now. This is advertised as the largest conservative
Conservative.
Christian university in the world.
Black lives don't exist because we're all God's children. Type of. Okay, so I
Yes.
get the phone call. Can you write a play or can you produce? Well, they didn't ask me. They kind of hinted. We just want a play produced by a Black artist, directed by a Black artist, written by a Black artist. So I was like, well, I don't know. Where can I find a Black artist to? Oh, I can do that. And so this team of people, I kind of changed the group up, but a team of people came and we worked for a year on the project. And I wanted collaboration. I wanted this project to be a rocket booster for somebody, to get someone out of Lynchburg, for someone's name to get known, to collaborate. We collaborated with people from New York, from
Philadelphia, was it?
Philadelphia, from DC, from Central Virginia. And one of our artists actually was from Alvin Ailey's studio. And so they had,
Was.
yeah, Megan King. Megan was
Megan is
amazing.
incredible.
And we collaborated.
She's going on tour, y'all.
She's going on tour Sunday. She starts rehearsals, I think she said.
Yeah.
Amazing artist, beautiful young lady. There goes my mic. But I wanted it to be a collaboration. It was collaborated on by mostly Black artists.
Yes.
Black writers, Black director, Black actors. And we had some inclusion going on in there, but I wanted to show the world what a quality production looks like and that you can trust us. You don't have to give us what do you call the thing helps you walk? A crutch.
A walker or a
we don't need
cane
crutches.
or...
We don't need walkers. We don't need you to tell us what to write or how to write it or how to edit it. We did it. You don't need to tell us how to film it. We did it. And it was a black filmmaker who filmed our show.
It was, yeah.
And we, as a group, brought it. Y'all were amazing. And your growth in the piece, I wouldn't let you go. I wouldn't let you just give me anything.
but it was really, that was a really hard character for me to dissect. And so I was not hesitant. I knew that I was going to need some help with it. I was glad that I didn't know at the time that it was your piece. I should have. I mean, I'm reading the play and I'm like, oh yeah, Joshua Carter. But like, I'm like, oh, he wrote this specific one. Oh, got it. And so I was like, oh, this is going to be great because I know I'm going to get the extra help that I need because I know Josh is not going to.
You brought a certain level to it because, you know, sometimes we have a vision for how it should be. And then it came to me, I was watching you and I was like, don't do what I told you. Do what you're doing. And then all of a sudden this character blossoms out of nowhere and you were playing an 11-year-old girl. And she's not 11 years old and she don't act 11 years old, but something that you did somewhere that you access this, we keep saying demure. She's not demure. This like little girl pops out with these beady little eyes and she's a little sassy. You brought it, you killed it and people knew you killed it.
Thank you.
And I was like that in some ways is my problem with the American educational system. And when you need someone to bring a character like a little black girl in the 60s to life, do they have the tools to bring that out of you? Because what I saw on that stage, what you did with that character, I had not seen yet. I had not seen that yet.
I had not seen either, and I had not experienced. And so there was no... I really was flailing, if you will, which in acting is great because you have the room to flail for a certain amount of time. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I know what I have from my own sister who's younger. I know her attitude is kind of similar. And so let me think back into like this day and age and what that means and like, what is being an 11-year-old mean? Because if I'm being honest, I did not act 11 when I was 11. So it was not Maia. I've always been more mature. At 11, I was wearing heels and I had a purse and I was sitting like this and having full conversations with you the same way that I am right now. You know, like I was very, very, very mature. So at 11, I wasn't playing in the sand anymore. I wasn't doing those things. I was the oldest. So I had to have the oldest responsibilities. And so I had to find that, like struggle through that. But once I found it, it started to click. And I was like, okay, it's getting better. I'm refining it. And I still think I would have done even more, you know, work with it now, but it gave me, it felt so good to do something different and to find it and to have the process of transformation and like getting the feedback after. I was like, oh, I don't know, this is either gonna be received well or it's gonna be confused.
But you were always in the script. Like every time, like y'all gotta understand, I was a busybody. I was in the show and the director and producing, so I was just like all over the place. And every time I passed you, you were in the script. Even in the show, you were just in the script, like trying to find those nuggets. And I'm like, that's what I want younger actors to get to. I want them to get to a Maia level of caring for that character and not just like throwing up a character to get a response, but like diving into. And I know that's a part of your training. You took a class on that. But I'm like,
well, they don't teach you that. I found when I did my first responsible role, which was Decipher. When I did that role, that was the first time that I had a lot of lines. I went from having like 1-2 lines, maybe a monologue, to I have to be invested in this whole show. And going from one to the next, that's very hard. Like it's overwhelming almost. And so every night I was in my script. if I wasn't in stage, I was in my scripts.
In the
I was
script, yeah.
finding new things. I was going over my words. I was making sure that, like, if I was not on stage, I was somewhere with the script. Like, everybody knew, oh, Maia, she didn't have her script. The costume designers, the costume assistants were going to get the script to make sure I had it backstage. I wanted to make sure my
Yeah.
words were right,
Yeah.
especially working with Linda Cooper, who was the director. She's big on words and making sure the words that are in the play you should be saying. Do not make your own rendition of the words, because those words mean something. This is edited and written and revised many times. Every word matters. And so because of that, I had so much respect for words that it just kind of carried with me that, okay, if I'm not on stage, I still need to be in character. I need to be getting into the next place that I need to be emotionally for the next character or the next place my character will be in. And so it just kind of stuck with me to be in my script.
And I'm so different from you. I'm a person that like, da da da, and then try to pop into it. That's funny. Yeah. I will. I'll just be standing there. Were you backstage for parade? Were you backstage for parade? I would do that. I'd just be like, and then run on stage.
I remember. But it was really fun though to see you do that, because I'm like, I don't know how he does
what
that.
He's doing. No, because I was told, I don't know who told me. I don't know if it was Cooper or Chris. I just use first names. Oh, I grown up. Chris Nelson. That you pop into it. I don't know who told me to do that, but I just carry that with me to just.
It probably was Nelson.
Pop into. Okay, probably Nelson.
I feel like Nelson. That's that is him as an actor. From what I can see, working with him, he's someone that can he can go into it, and he's really good at that. He's incredible on stage. So that's a gift. I don't have that.
It is. Yeah, I'm gonna look for that. When did he go to school? I don't even see it. Yeah.
So it was Black creativity on display, though, Color Me Beautiful, and it was beautiful to see. How do you feel you've been creatively purposed? How do you think God has used your creativity? Being in your faith, how has that merged your faith and creativity together, and whatever ways that you have felt or seen or other people may have told you, what is that link between the two?
Firstly, I really believe that your trials, in many ways, it sounds cheesy, but your trials is a part of your testimony about the greatness that you're going into. I had an issue with rejection, specifically in this theater world and the little theater cliques and stuff like that, and really wanting to be wanted, wanting to be called on, wanting to be a part without inserting yourself. And I was like, I can see where people fit. Like, I can see the greatness in all these people, and I'm giving to them and telling them how great they are. You inspire me, and I just want to be like you. But those people could not see me. They could not see anything great in me.
Yeah.
And so that can do a lot to you and cause you to stay still. But what was revealed to me is that the reason why they can't see you is because they don't have your gift. You're a visionary. Like, Moses and Joseph could see things that people like, that's a block of cheese. No, that's a bowl of spaghetti. That's a block of cheese. That's a bowl of spaghetti. And so I think I'm purposed to see need beyond acting, beyond theater. I think my purpose is to see and to exalt people so that they can work in their gift and promise.
Right.
It's like, you can't see it, but I can see where you're going. All right, let's do this. You're going to do this, and this, and then you're going to get where you need to go. Everybody can't do that, and everybody doesn't have the patience or the willpower because it's not profitable. Like, people think, well, why am I going to get you somewhere? It's not about that for me. And that's why education came into play. I love seeing people find a light bulb. Oh, you get it? Okay, do something with that.
Yeah.
Do something. Go to Georgia, go on to Australia, go on to LA, and go ahead and work on that and get back with me when you do what you're supposed to do.
Exactly. Hey, listen. Yeah, no, it's a revelation that it's hard. Hard to have, hard to find. But that's why I say, like, really networking with people has been resourceful, because I think for myself, I did long to have theater friends and or acting friends and people who got it. Like, I don't have to explain that callback didn't go well. What's a callback? Why didn't it go well? Well, was there a, what I mean? There's certain things that people don't understand, they don't get. And having other people around who got it, you're just like, oh, I just wish that I had someone who just gets it. Like, I just need some ice cream. Like, I don't want to talk about the bad callback. I don't want to explain what a callback is. I just want to go about the day. And so I think it's so resourceful and such a blessing that I have been able to find that in friends like you and the other theater friends and the other people that I have in my life. And some of them are Black. And so there's a different level of understanding of that too, because they understand what it means to be a Black creative in this space, and being a Black woman in this space, or being a Black man in that space, and how that feels, and what is that like. And so that has been a blessing as well that I'm grateful for. Now, is there anything else that you have on your heart that maybe you just felt when you were in here, you didn't have the time to talk about it, or just like a lasting thought that you want to say?
If you're listening to this broadcast, put your hands up. I want you to close your... No, I'm kidding. I think the thing that I want people to go away with is you do not have to beg at the edge of someone else's table. You do not have to wait for someone to recognize you. If you know your gift, if you know how you can operate, I say draw people to you. Chasing people is a devastating thing, because not only does it give people power over you to where they can get you to do anything, and then you go back home crying, they didn't invite me to the after dinner party, or they didn't invite me to hang out after the show. Draw someone to you, open doors for others, and then before you know it, you have a pool of like-minded people to whom they're on your level. They care about you. So use your giftings. You don't have to beg. You don't have to beg for anything.
You never do. And that is just rich. It really is, because I think as artists, we do have confidence. There is a certain level of confidence that you have to even be able to put yourself out there. But you still, there's a teeter-totter that comes with it. Like, I don't know, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not like the people that I like. I'm not at that level yet. And so you diminish your creativity, you diminish your art and where you're at, and you don't think that you and yourself can build that table, because who am I?
Exactly.
But no, it does speak that the tables that Josh has created for himself, I have been able to eat from. And that's just Josh. Like the tables that I hope that I'm able to, bring on Josh and the other people that have been in my life to be able to eat off my tables. And so it's about trying to level the playing field however you can and doing your part. You can't talk about what other people are doing, and you're not trying to do it in your own life, and you're not doing it in the little ways that you can, because it's a skill. And if you're not doing it in the small rooms, you're never going to do it in the big room.
Come on, preach.
and so, I leave you with that. I think this was such a great conversation, and you can follow, if you want to keep up with Josh and his art and who he is, you can follow him at Joshua Carter 247. But Absolutely. I just think I'll leave you like creative is something, and be productive in your creativity, because the world needs you. You weren't purposed with creativity on accident. You're creatively purposed. So I'll leave you with that. And thank you so much again for being a part of this, Josh. I'm so happy to have you. And I will catch you on the next episode of Maia Moments. Let's talk about it. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.
See you.